Well, they keep going up this trail until they come to this huge cave. And apparently it smelled ungodly. Just terrible smell coming out of this cave.
Yeah.
And there were bones scattered at the mouth.
Okay.
Kind of like thrown out. Could have been human, could have been animal. As they're assessing this situation, they see movement in the cave. Hey, welcome to Sincerely Supernatural. My name is Seth, and I'm one of your hosts, and this is the podcast where we talk about the strange, the mysterious, and the unexplained. I've got my co-host here with me.
Me.
Hudson.
My name is Hudson. I'm here too, also.
Hudson is my song.
I'm also not an alien.
No.
But you wouldn't know it because I'm talking really weird for some reason.
What are you talking about?
The way I introduce myself as...
Hudson is the name of me. Okay. We're taking a little bit of a departure from what we usually do. I really like this story.
We usually talk about the strange, mysterious, and unexplained.
Oh, which one would this be classified as? Strange and mysterious?
But not unexplained?
I think unexplained.
Really? Okay.
It marks all three boxes.
Okay.
But it's very near and dear to my heart. But before we get into today's episode, I would like to encourage you that if you like this content, like and subscribe. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you'd head over there, rate and review, it helps us out a ton. Let's get the word out about Sincerely Supernatural. More people need to know.
Yeah, we're not in the top 100 yet.
We're not in the top 1 million yet.
We're right below Ben Shapiro and Creepcast.
Yeah, well, Creepcast, that's some goals right there. All right. Are you ready for today's episode?
Yeah.
Today, we are going to be talking about the Giant of Kandahar.
Is that you?
No. What was that? Hudson, did you hear that?
That was your voice?
No, it wasn't. When I said the Giant of Kandahar, something... What is that? Something mystical is going on here.
Do you know what that reminds me of?
What?
Like a bit from Arrested Development where they're like in the jungle and like they'll play like
or
like
Mr.
in the desert.
F.
Yeah. Or like when Job's doing one of his like his resurrection magic shows.
Oh yeah,
and then
yeah.
They play some like
mystical Middle Eastern type of music. Yeah. Well, I don't know where it's coming from.
Okay, me neither.
But every time I say Giant of Kandahar, it starts playing. So throughout the episode, I'm afraid that's going to keep happening.
It's going to keep happening.
Have you heard of the Giant of Kandahar? Have you ever heard of it? You're done.
I've heard of the Afghan Giant.
Yep.
Is that the same thing?
Kandahar is in Afghanistan.
It is.
Yes.
You learn a new thing every day.
Yes.
I've heard of it, but I don't know it in like detail.
Well, you might be able to fill in some cracks because there's a lot of information out there on the interwebs about it. But we're going to do the Seth Cliff Notes version.
Okay.
The Seth Notes version. So we had the attacks on the Twin Towers, and then we declared war on basically the entire Middle East. I don't know.
All of it.
But we were in Afghanistan, and around 2002, this is where it starts to diverge. Some people say an army squad, and some people say a squad of Marines was patrolling in Kandahar.
I thought it was Army Rangers.
See, some say Green Berets, some say it was Rangers,
Okay.
some people say Navy SEALs. No, it was definitely Marines. Blah, blah, blah. But nonetheless,
Some big, strong,
big,
strong, tough man
big,
patrolling.
big, strong, tough guys. We're being loud.
Would we? Sorry.
Anyway,
I'll let you tell your story.
they're on patrol in Afghanistan, in Kandahar, and they go missing up above this village. So this isn't like something out of the ordinary. This is very rugged territory, and it's not easy to get radio signal in and out of these places.
Okay.
So they never check in at the times that they're supposed to check in. So they send in another unit to retrieve them or see what happened to them. And this unit was supposedly a special forces unit. I'm not sure the first unit that went in there was special forces.
Okay.
But these guys were armed with M4s, 308s, and they say 50 cal sniper rifles, like a Barrett or something. Pretty heavily armed. So they go in looking for them.
Yeah.
And they're snaking up into the mountains above this village in Kandahar, and it turns from like a regular path to maybe a path that's a little more rugged. And they're like, why would they have gone up there? Because they're not seeing any sign of them. Well, they take the trail anyway. And then they start finding pieces of equipment on the trail that belonged to this unit that went missing.
Okay.
And they're kind of like, what is going on here? This doesn't look like a firefight. Like, there's no brass. It's just like their stuff was taken off and left on the trail. Well, they keep going up this trail until they come to this huge cave. And apparently it smelled ungodly. Just terrible smell coming out of this cave.
Ew.
And there were bones scattered at the mouth.
Okay.
Kind of like thrown out. Could have been human, could have been animal. As they're assessing this situation, they see movement in the cave. And then barreling towards them at superhuman speed is a giant. Comes screaming and running out of this cave. The giant had white skin.
Okay.
Like scarlet red hair, like very red hair, bearded. Some people say it was like 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
Very huge. And one of these special ops guys opens fire. This thing has a spear, and it spears this guy straight through him like nothing, just like butter.
Yeah.
And everybody starts mag dumping, blah, 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 like shooting it, and it's not being phased.
Yeah.
Like they can tell it hurts, but it's not killing it. And then one of the guys that was there said it kind of clicked for everybody, and they were like, shoot him in the face. So they start just gunfire to the face. And after about 30 seconds, the giant dies, hits the ground dead.
Yeah.
They basically had to saw its head off with machine gun fire.
That's crazy.
Or, automatic weapons. They kill it, and the whole time that they were shooting, it was probably 30 seconds worth of shooting. Now, people are going to be like, it only took them 30 seconds to kill it?
It's a long time when you're shooting a gun.
It is. 30 seconds of shooting is, you're putting a lot of bullets downrange in 30 seconds. Yeah. Especially if they're using automatic weapons. So they were like lighting this thing up, and it took a lot to kill it.
Yeah.
Well, they call for a medevac for the guy that got speared. And it's looking like he's gone. He's not going to make it. Instead of getting medevac, they get, it was either a Chinook or a Pavlo.
Okay.
Two of the largest helicopters in the U.S. military. Flies over and drops a net and tells them to wrap it around the beast, the giant.
Mm-hmm.
So they do, and I don't know what happens to the guy that got killed. They had to have sent another helicopter to get him out there.
So he didn't live.
No, he didn't. But the priority was to get the giant out,
Yeah.
not them.
Yeah.
So they wrap up the giant, and the helicopter takes it back to a base. Once they get back to this base, a C-130 pilot in the Air Force, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
has this thing loaded on his C-130. Now, when you load an airplane, you have to know the weight and balance of everything that goes into the airplane.
Yeah.
And there's even little charts of where you place things and how much they weigh so that your center of gravity doesn't get thrown off.
Mm-hmm.
If you take off in an airplane, a cargo airplane especially, and that cargo shifts on takeoff,
Yeah.
the center of gravity shifts to the back of that airplane and you will crash.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a famous, I think it was a 747 that this happened to, some contractors that were in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Cargo shifted, boom, airplane exploded.
You just don't secure it
Yeah,
good
I'm
enough?
going to put it on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or at
they have
all.
like a load master. There's a guy that is supposed to
Mm-hmm.
go through and make sure everything is secured
Yeah.
and everything is weight and balance is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So because of all this, he knew that whatever they loaded on his C-130 weighed about 1,100 pounds.
I've been watching or reading or playing too many sci-fi movies and games and
Mm-hmm.
books because I'm like, why didn't they just put it in a giant like container, that they had?
Yeah,
Because
they have those.
they have just
a giant
a
glass
giant
container.
12-foot long container that, you put your code in and nobody
Mm-hmm.
can open it. But yeah, of course you'd put it on a pallet with tarps. Like, what
Yeah.
else are you going to do?
It's what they had.
Yeah.
They had to do it.
Yeah.
So they load this giant into this guy's C-130.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the crew had to be with him too. And they fly it back to the United States. Who knows what happened to it after that? There's theories that they're
Yeah.
using it for genetic research to make super soldiers and all this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, this sounds really fantastical,
Yeah.
but the amount of people that say they have involvement and the precision of the military technical speak that they're using
Mm-hmm.
insinuates that this actually happened and that it's real.
It's not just one guy
Right.
claiming everything.
The first time this came out was on Coast to Coast with George Norrie.
Okay.
And it came out in 2005 by the pilot of that airplane. He was the first one to talk about it on his show with a guy named Steve Quayle.
Mm-hmm.
And he laid out everything that happened.
This is the pilot who said he saw the body? Okay.
That it was loaded on his airplane.
Okay.
And that was 3 years after this supposedly took place.
Mm-hmm.
Happened in 2002. He went on Coast to Coast in 2005.
Okay.
Well, not long after that, have you ever heard of L.A. Marzulli?
I don't think so.
He's a Christian guy that does tons of research into giants and Nephilim and stuff like that.
Okay.
And UFOs. He has a lot of documentaries. He's super smart,
Yeah.
and I would love to get him on here someday. That would be really awesome. But I've watched his stuff for years and years. L.A. Marzulli dug into this,
Mm-hmm.
and he found one of the guys that was on the team that killed the giant.
Oh, really?
And you can
Okay.
see that interview on one of his documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
There's a snippet of it on YouTube. We'll link it in the description. But the guy sounds legit.
Yeah.
He tells you what I just told you.
Mm-hmm.
So this happened several years apart by different military personnel. The description of the giant is the same by both people.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like it has to be true.
Yeah. Was it just those two, or were there any other people that corroborated it?
I'm sure there may be some other people that have corroborated it.
Mm-hmm.
As I was digging around online doing research and stuff and reading comments and stuff like that, there were so many comments of former Marine, Army, whatever, who say, oh, I heard about this right after it happened. I heard.
Really?
Yeah, this was going around. My buddy told me that this happened in 2003.
So
my buddy told me this in 2004.
when it happened, it just kind of spread through the military.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, you're not supposed to tell anybody, but somebody told somebody.
And it just,
hey, we killed a giant out
Yeah.
there, blah, blah, blah. Well, a lot of people have done a lot of research and stuff. And supposedly, you can find a video of a person that went to Afghanistan, to that village, and talks to people there. And
I was literally going to ask, go ask the villagers. They probably know about it.
Someone has, and there's video. You know what they would do? The village would tie up goats and go sacrifice them or put them in the cave.
I am like reading your mind right now. I was literally going to say, do they go sacrifice goats?
They do.
That's crazy.
They would leave it food.
Oh my gosh. Do you know what this is?
What?
This is, what was his name? Polyphemus from the Odyssey.
Oh, I don't know.
Poseidon's son, the Cyclops, who lived in a cave and ate people.
I didn't know that that's what that was. I knew about the Cyclops. I didn't know that he had a name like that, though.
I think that's his name. I could be wrong. It's Poly something, but he's Poseidon's son, and I think that's why Odysseus's boat had such a hard time on the waters, because they ticked him off.
He was like,
because they stabbed. Well, I'm spoiling the movie now. So anyway, but this might relate back to
older times,
theories of Greek mythology. So I'll just put that there.
Yeah, Greek mythology
continue.
And biblical archaeology.
The villagers would tie up goats.
Yeah, and they would give them to this thing.
Really?
So my theory is, and this is my theory only, that when those soldiers went up there, they surprised it.
Yeah, the first group,
it killed them all. And when the second group went up, it surprised them again because it had a relationship with people.
Yeah, it wasn't
in the village.
It wasn't expecting people to come kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here they are all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So it makes you think about, like, could giants, like, this wasn't like a Bigfoot giant. Let's just clarify that.
Yeah.
This is like a giant human being.
A dude. Yeah.
With red hair. So I start looking into that.
Red hair, right?
Yeah.
Because I've heard that is like a common thing for
there
giants.
Are Native American tribes with legends of those giants living here in America that had red hair. And I remember you brought it up. You said, didn't Buffalo Bill Cody see a giant?
Or he talked to people that had seen him, or did he see one himself?
He had talked to someone, and I think it may have been a Native American. And they said they had legends of giant people that were so strong and so fast that they could run along a herd of buffalo that were stampeding.
Yeah.
Grab one of their legs and pull it off and eat it as they ran. That was the legend.
That's crazy.
So we have the same giant legends in America that, with the red hair and everything, that we're talking about over there.
Yeah. Are all redheaded people part Nephilim?
They're all descendants of...
Well, that's...
So your mom...
Me. That's an issue.
No, I don't believe that. But...
Yeah.
Red-haired people do have higher bone density.
Really?
Which is very important for giants, because if they have the bone density of a regular human, there's like this mathematical term. The taller you get, the more volume that you need or your body takes up. And it's like exponential how much bone density you need.
Yeah. If you took like a human and made them like 20 feet tall and didn't change their bone density, it would, they'd just fall apart.
And this wasn't like the pituitary disease like Andre the Giant had.
Yeah.
This is like normal-looking, healthy giant person.
So you are saying redheaded people are related to Nephilim?
I'm saying that maybe they've used their genetics to get their bone density DNA.
Yeah.
That's just a thought.
Could be a thing.
Just a theory. So then I'm like, oh, I forgot one of the most important things that these people said.
Okay. The villagers?
Or the people that killed it.
Oh, okay.
And the people that flew it. Is that it had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot.
Really?
Have you ever heard that before?
Oh, you're going to the Bible. I was going to pull out the Princess Bride quote that I forgot. Is it Diego Montoya?
My name is Inigo Montoya.
Prepare to
You
die.
killed my father. Prepare to
Is it
die.
Diego or?
Inigo.
Inigo.
In 2 Samuel 21:15 through 22, David is the king at this point.
Yeah.
And he's like, we got to go kill these guys. And we're going to talk about why he had to kill them. But I'm going to read this to you. The Philistines again waged war against Israel. David went down with his soldiers, and they fought the Philistines. But David became exhausted. And you'll know why, because he was an absolute beast.
Oh,
and
David.
So were his warriors. Yeah. They were fighters.
Yeah.
Then Ishbi-Benob, one of the descendants of the giant, whose bronze spear weighed about 8 pounds, try throwing that, and who wore new armor, intended to kill David. But Abishai, son of Zeruiah, came to his aid, struck the Philistine, and killed him. Then David's men swore to him, "You must never again go out with us to battle. You must not extinguish the lamp of Israel." After this, there was another battle with the Philistines at Gob. At that time, Sibbecai the Hushathite killed Saph, who was one of the descendants of the giant. Once again, there was a battle with the Philistines at Gob, and Elhanan, son of Jerogoram the Bethlehemite, killed Goliath the Gittite.
This is another Goliath?
Yeah, this wasn't Goliath of Gath.
He already died.
The shaft of his spear was like a weaver's beam, which is huge. At Gath, there was still another battle. A huge man was there with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in all. He too was descended from the giant. When he taunted Israel, Jonathan, son of David's brother Shimei, killed him. These 4 were descended from the giant in Gath and were killed by David and his soldiers.
That giant being Goliath?
I don't know if it's Goliath of Gath that they're talking about, but they were all related in some way. They were all related. And there were tribes of giants, okay? And these are some of them. The Anakim, the Rephaim, the Emim, the Zamzumim, and the Philistines all had giants, or their entire tribe were descendants of the giants.
The Amorites were giants too?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And I think that that's one of the other things I wanted to talk about is Deuteronomy 3:8.
Okay.
This is about King Og. This kind of shows you how big they were. At that time, we took the land from the 2 Amorite kings across the Jordan, from the Arnon Valley as far as Mount Hermon, which the Sidonians call Sirion, but the Amorites call Senir, all the cities of the plateau, Gilead and Bashan as far as Salika and Edrei, cities of Og's kingdom in Bashan. Only Og, king of Bashan, was left of the remnant of the Rephaim. His bed was made of iron. Isn't it in Rabbah of the Ammonites? It is 13 feet, 6 inches long, and 6 feet wide by a standard measure. That was his bed.
13 feet long?
So some people say he was probably 10 to 12 feet tall.
What if he just really liked having a long bed?
I mean, that would be kind of weird. How long is the standard bed? 6'6"?
I don't know.
I think so. This is like double.
Yeah.
This is double a standard bed.
But it was still 6 feet wide, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you take a regular bed and just put another one in front of it.
Yeah.
So it's just really long.
So these things were huge.
Yeah.
They were big.
Yeah.
Big giants. I've got one more Bible verse for you. And a lot of people know this one. It's from Numbers when the spies go in to spy out the land.
I know that one.
13:33 says, "We even saw the Nephilim there, the descendants of Anak, come from the Nephilim. To ourselves, we seemed like grasshoppers, and we must have seemed the same to them." They were huge.
Can you imagine well, first of all, just imagine being in a time where like everyone knows giants are real and like other militaries have them. And then can you imagine being in David's army and seeing a giant? And I've never been in combat in any sort of way. But could you imagine like the morale boost seeing one of your guys kill a freaking giant?
Yeah.
You would all just be like,
yeah,
just on it.
And if you're reading that, it's not like a bunch of guys had to kill it.
Yeah.
It's like David was getting tired and this one giant was going for him and one of his men killed him.
Yeah.
Like, you get a promotion.
It reminds me of Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Quick shout out. Probably my favorite fictional story ever told.
It's the only animated series that's almost made me cry.
Just incredible. But long story short, there's these giants, and when they're very hard to kill, and when someone does kill one, it's like,
whoa,
dude. So
yeah, like you're Captain Levi.
Yeah. So seeing that in real life.
Yeah. But can you imagine, like, just, I think it's hard, again, for people to imagine how big something like that is. But if you look at a basketball hoop, this thing was probably taller than that.
Go look at a stop sign.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're driving, they don't seem that tall, but if you get out of your car and look at a stop sign, it's like 10 feet off the ground or the top of it.
Yeah.
How do you even kill that?
They were using swords and spears and stuff.
Well, obviously David killed Goliath with a rock.
Yeah.
And then he cut his head off, but you got to like get at their feet first and get them low to the ground. And then, I don't know.
We should just do an episode on how to kill giants.
Yeah. Because we have experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the deal? How come we can't get their bones? How come there's this big conspiracy that whenever someone does find a big skeleton, the Smithsonian goes, "Oh, we'll take that," and then it disappears and you never see it again?
Well, I mean, I think that's the deal.
Why don't they want us to know that they exist?
They don't want us to know, man.
Why?
Who are they? Who doesn't want us to know? The government?
It seems like the government doesn't want us to know.
Well, do they want it? Do they not want things in the Bible to be confirmed?
I think that's what it is.
Is that the main reason?
And I think this is a really easy way to confirm it.
Is that let's hold on though. Is that a biased conclusion because we're Christians and it's easy for us to be like, they don't want us to know the truth, you know?
Well, I think even if I was a non-Christian and I knew that a government agency was trying to like keep something from me, I would be like, then they want to use it to control me somehow.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they also just like having power, and truth is like a form of power. And if they can keep something from us, they will.
Yeah, I think they want to control the narrative. I think they want people to keep thinking that we were a cosmic accident.
Yeah. And
they want to also use it, probably weaponize it somehow.
Yeah.
It seems like everything they find they want to weaponize somehow.
Make some Captain America super soldiers out of the bone marrow or something.
Yes. This is, I guess, maybe an apologetic session that I'm going to have here.
Okay.
Because I just want to direct this to the people out there that are like, I know that in the Bible, God says, go destroy that entire city. Don't let anyone live. Nothing comes out alive. And people are like, there's no way I want to worship a God like that or even believe in a God like that. So I did a little bit of digging.
Okay.
He only says that to the tribes of giants.
Really?
He's never like, go kill every normal human being.
Are you sure?
I looked it up. When he says, go wipe it out, everything living, it is usually or always, not usually, a tribe of people that are giants or descended from giants.
So an abomination.
Why would he do that?
Of his creation.
Why would he say kill everything moving in that whole city?
Maybe the same reason he did the flood.
He's stopping the genetic pollution of the human race.
Yeah.
Which was Satan's plan.
Yeah.
One of Satan's plans. So I just thought that was really cool because I was like, nothing's going to stop me from being a Christian.
Yeah.
But I've always thought like, why would he do that? I mean, he's sovereign. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
If that's what he says to do, he had a good reason that I'll find out later.
Yeah.
But when you can tie it to, these things were, he was killing a tribe of people that were literally hybrids created by fallen angels.
And if you're new or you don't know, we're referring to Nephilim from Genesis 6:4. We kind of talk about them all the time on the show, but basically the sons of God had the sons of God had children with the daughters of men.
Yes.
So the angels had children with humans.
And they were the mighty men.
And they were the giants.
The heroes of old, the men of renown.
So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because I've always heard those same passages, and I'm like, you know, curious. I'm not like immediately like mad at God, like why would he do this? But it does make a lot of sense.
And I understand if you're not a Christian, it's going to take a big jump for you to even believe that giants exist.
Yeah.
Or maybe you do believe, and this is filling in some gaps for you. But I just thought I would bring that up so that people knew,
There's even a lot of Christians, and I'm not trying to throw shade, but they believe that back then people were just shorter in general.
Yeah.
So when they refer to giants, it was just some guy that was like 6'5".
And I don't believe that at all, because when you live to be 900 years old, because you live in a perfect environment, you're going to grow to be really, really tall.
Yeah.
As a regular human.
Yeah.
So
I don't believe that either. I think, people were, let's say on average you were 5 feet tall back then. Some guy we have people that are 5 feet tall here today.
Yeah.
And you see someone who's 6 foot and they're tall, but like, a giant is a giant.
Yeah. And it's not just like, that person's really tall.
Yeah.
They're like wide too and deep.
Like, I'm sure if I saw like Nikola Jokic, how do you say his name? Jokic?
I can't remember.
The Joker, or Wembanyama. If I saw them in real life, I'd be like, whoa. But they're skinnier.
Yeah.
You can tell they're like,
some are meatier than others, but it's
like
mostly
Shaq
just
pretty,
a height thing.
Pretty wide, but I mean, if you see like a giant, you would know.
Yeah. They would make those people look small.
Yeah.
Like children.
Yeah. That would be scary. I think the tallest basketball player, there's like a 7'8" kid in college. And we're talking like 10, 12 feet.
We're talking feet above that.
So, which is like insane.
So there's a lot of information out there. I think it definitely could be real, and it does jive with the older tales and jives with biblical history. So what did you think of the Kandahar Giant?
Is that what he sounds like?
I don't know. I don't know where that comes from.
Is that what the villagers do when they tie up the goats?
Yep.
Is that like their song?
That's what they sing, and then he comes out and grabs it.
You could make a really cool movie about like some guy going to the village and like they're around a campfire, and then the old villagers like, it comes out at night.
That sounds like a really good show.
That's the whole movie.
That would be, and then he goes home.
But you get what I'm saying? Like,
it'd be a good movie. It'd make a good movie.
I meant like that would be a part of the movie. That wouldn't be the movie.
Yeah. Well, guess what? We've come to the end. And I just want to encourage anyone who has ever been to Kandahar and seen the Kandahar Giant, or if you were on that squad, or
Yeah.
you were part of the crew that flew him out, email us at sincerelysupernatural@gmail.com so that we can read your story on the air. And if you have any other stories,
Yeah.
you can send them into.
It doesn't have to be a giant. It could be a little person.
It could.
Not like
Oh, man.
what?
There's a story about a little person.
How little?
Very little. Okay, never mind. We're not going to
Can we do it next week?
Yeah, we'll do it another time.
Okay. If you ever see a giant running at you with a spear, what do you do?
Jump out of the way. Oh,
And then you jump out of the way.
yes.
Like a cool action
Dude,
hero.
saw that sucker down.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it.
Thanks for coming by, and we'll see you next time.